All right, we're back. We're here to talk about this Starfall. This was just a 2025 commission from a client of his that got sent my way. I think he said this is a kind of a Qui-gon Obi-Annie mashup. Don't exactly know the lore per se, but it's got a couple cool features. So yeah, he sent this my way for a very bare bones install. With just a couple cool features. So let's hop down to the table. Let's talk about what went on with it. And then, yeah, we'll pop back out after that. We'll put a blade in it. We'll show off a couple sound fonts and some presets, and then we'll wrap it up. So here we are again. This is, I don't think it has a name, but we can see some pretty cool features. One, obviously, being the exposed crystal chamber. So this is a fully removable chassis design. There's some internal diameter changes. We have a 7/8 inch blade socket with a provided blade plug. This thumb screw is our blade retention, which makes this really cool. I think this blade plug comes with the Infinity line, but don't quote me on that. Up top, we have a Shtok V4 Neopixel emitter. So this is just going to mimic what the blade does. Let me start it up muted real quick. So yeah, we can see that. Plenty of shine through. So yeah, we got shine through on these grates. Now there is some shine through on this glass eye. However, depending on the color blade, like maybe I think greens and blues, it kind of cancels out. But any other colors will show through. And even if it is a blue or greenish blade, like the Flash on Clash, white colors will shine through. But yeah, that's pretty cool. This uses a 7-rail connector, and I had to do that so that we could get the daisy chain from the crystal to the blade, and then a second data line so that we can run these independent. Because these switches come pre-wired, there is no like in and out for the data. So I had to do like a clever bit of wiring to get these to be subbladed from each other. Anyway, to get the chassis out, we'll unscrew the pommel here. And then as soon as that disconnects, all of the fun stuff goes away. And then we can pull our chassis out. This is the 7-rail connector from Smuggler's Outpost. So we got the pogo side on the inside. You can see the diameter changes there, and then even further down there. And then obviously it goes up to 7/8. So our chassis does that as well. Just a couple greeblies. Nick said I could keep this as simple as I wanted, but obviously I wanted to go with a little bit fancy. We've got a 28mm KR bass speaker fully enclosed. This thing is loud. I even programmed it a little bit quieter than I normally start out when I'm just testing. So I start out at like 2500, but this thing was just screaming hot. I didn't get any false clashes, but it was kind of like piercingly loud, so I figured let's go a little bit more conservative since we've got the juice, and then if the customer wants, they can program it later. So the config is on the SD card. We got our kill switch there. Proffie V3, and again, the 7-rail chassis connector set from Smuggler's Outpost. Press fit. So this is a wrapped battery, 18650. This will come with the Saber, and this wrap has a positive, so you know exactly which way to do it. It's a tight fit, but it uses Keystone connectors, and so we've got the Starfall logo and then a positive. So yeah, over time, this leaf spring may, get a little loose. You can always get like some pliers or something and then just bend it back out. I will say if you do that, be cautious because it can hang up on the battery wrap. So over time, that may come into play. But you snap it in place, no problem. You want to take it out, you can just hit the back side with your 2 fingers, or if you need to, you can get a tool in there, but yeah, you just kind of pop it out like that. It goes pretty quick. Stays pretty snug, shouldn't disconnect. Okay, so we got our kill switch here. Get our boot sound, and then because it's fully removable, you can put it any way you want. And then put our pommel on, and then as soon as that makes connection, everything lights up, right? So again, this takes a 7/8 diameter blade, so let's demonstrate that real quick. I have a 7/8 quantum blade. So this has like a 4 lines of pixels more tightly spaced than like your standard WS2812. And I do have a sleeping dog here, so we'll show this off. Now, this is operating on OS 7.14 with the FET263 prop file. So I have 3 ways to turn it on. You've got your button, and if the crystal is facing you, left is power and right is aux. These buttons and such will do different things in the on and off state. So for instance, this Nick requested purple and red, and so I've put that on several of the presets, but on some of the other presets I went with different colors to kind of match those fonts. So yeah, so we can hit power or gesture control. We have twist on, which is like a motorcycle rev, and then thrust on. If you're gonna do a thrust on, you sort of have to be horizontal, and you can do like a push or a pull, and you'll get that going. But just regular button press will get into regular mode, so clashes will have glancing animation effects depending on the severity. If you want to engage a lockup, hold either power or aux as you clash. And as long as you're holding the button, you'll stay in a lockup. Now, lockup's also tip effects, which I'll demonstrate here in a second, but or we can do a twist on. Now, when we do the twist on or thrust on, we're going to engage battle mode, and battle mode will make it so that we don't have to hold a button to engage a lockup. So let's do that real quick. So twist on. Now, if we lightly tap, we will still get some glancing blows, but the harder ones will engage lockup, right? So now, as long as I don't move too quickly, I'll stay in a lockup, but the moment you pull out of that, you'll disengage the lockup. Lockup is also tip effects, so melt if you're sideways. So you clash, and then drag will be facing down. And again, if I pull away. And so that will also happen if you do thrust on. Otherwise, if you want to do those things, again, you have to be in those orientations and hold the button, clash in that orientation. So again, like the melt is like a forward clash, and then obviously drag is just pointing it down and clash while you're doing that. If we want to engage the soundtrack, I've got a pre-designated soundtrack for each preset. You only get that by pointing the hilt straight up and holding power for 2 seconds. Do the same to turn it off, but you can be in any orientation once it's playing. You can turn that designated track on and off when the saber's on, but you have to be upright again, right? If you're in any other orientation, holding power for 2 seconds will be a force effect. So I've got a little unstable animation that plays just as long as the sound effect does, right? And then it goes back to the regular blade style. Again, hold power for 2 seconds, right? If you're on a preset that has quotes, and I believe this one does, you can switch between force player and quote player by pointing the hilt down, holding for 2 seconds. Not all of the Starfall ones have one, but I think like the first 3 or 4 do, right? And I just have that set up so in case you add fonts in the future that have quotes, that's all you have to do. You just have to make sure that those quotes are in a folder on the SD card, and then it'll just do that with the button command. Now, there is also track player mode, so if you're not pointed upright and you're pointed in any other position, when the blade is off and hold power for 2 seconds, you'll start in track player mode. You'll hear a little chime. It'll start right away playing the first track in the track folder, and I put that in the common folder so you can get it from any preset that you're on. You can select any of the numerous amounts of soundtracks that I provided, and as you rotate the saber, you'll jump through those until you press either of the buttons, and one button will let it keep playing, another button will play and go randomly, and you can read on how to do that. So let's demonstrate that real quick. There's a chime. Now, as I rotate, it's going through alphanumerically, and you can just start up any of the tracks. If you want to keep playing that and not have it keep rotating, now I can move the saber around, but I pressed power. So, and again, turn it off with holding it in any other. So that's track player, force player, quote player, and then designated track, all with holding power for 1 second. To move forward in the preset list, hit the aux when the blade is off. If you want to go backwards, point the hilt down and hit aux. Sorry. So, and then again, doing different little things with the buttons and the crystal. I'm gonna start it muted so I can talk over it. But yeah, and again, you can see like effects. So you can see like those getting white, the crystal lighting up, right, with clashes and stuff like that. So depending on which preset you're on, these colors can do different things. Right. All right, so let's talk about some of the newer fonts.
Legacy.
All right, so Nick rolled out with a new set of 3 fonts that he provided for the new run of hilts. These are to coincide with the special releases. I only have the Legacy here. So this font is kind of commemorative of that hilt with, I guess, lore and sound effects and such like that. So this one is Legacy, and I think it's a blue one. So I wanted to point out there that you notice there's a pre-on. You only get the pre-on when you hit power. If you do a gesture control, you bypass pre-ons. So all 3 of the newest ones, Legacy, Alliance, and Ascension, have short pre-ons. So they're nothing real fancy, but again, then you get it. But if you just do a gesture, you bypass it, right? Same goes for Ruin, which is an older font. But yeah. So there's our force effect. And these new fonts have quite a few force effects. So I'm hitting aux for blaster blocks. All right.
Alliance.
So now we're in Alliance, which is, I believe, a green blade. Again, there's your pre-on. Hold power for 2 seconds. We're going to get that force effect. This unstable animation only plays as long as the sound effect goes. Right? There are no quotes on these, though.
Ascension.
And then Ascension is the last one. And that'll be a red blade, the real slow rollout. What I did, because this is sporting OS 7.14 and the FET263 prop file, for the Starfall collection, where I knew who the preset was supposed to be kind of for, i.e. like Starfall's kind of a Vader, I provided the Proffie OS voice packs from Brian Connor. Those are on each of those subfolders. So this has a bunch of different voice packs to help guide you through edit mode. I don't cover edit mode here, but you can use edit mode to copy presets, edit styles individually, go in and change fonts, change your blade length, all that stuff. You can do all that with edit mode. But then the voice pack will help guide you so you know you're on whatever setting, whatever mode, whatever color. So real quick, I wanted to demonstrate that. If we want to do a battery level, we'll hold aux and tap power when the blade's off.
Battery level 62%.
So that's obviously Vader. If we want to do the volume, do the vice versa, hold power and tap aux.
Enter volume menu.
And because again, like I said, this is a very powerful speaker. I only set it to 2 2250.
Maximum volume.
So if you want to
Maximum volume.
bring it back down, you can jump in and come a couple clicks down.
Exiting volume menu.
And then, yeah, that's up to you. So Celestial would be like
Battery level 63%.
old Ben Kenobi. God, I can't talk tonight.
Battery level 63%.
So where there isn't one, and I wasn't sure because this sort of had the Qui-Gon shroud here, for any preset that doesn't have it within the specific font folder, you'll have Qui-Gon guide you through with your Proffie OS voice packs. So again, that's just part of the Starfall font package. There's now 11 fonts. There used to be 8. The last preset is a battery level indicator, so we'll go to that real quick.
Battery level.
On the battery level indicator, so this is just here for if you're scrolling through, you can quickly see that like the accents on the hilt itself will go from green to red, green obviously being a high charge, red being a low charge. On the blade itself, there's a bubble. So the further out it is, the more it's charged up. As it depletes, it will go from, I think, this bluish color down to like green to yellow down to red. Once you're getting down here into yellowish red, you'll probably start to hear the speaker crackle. That's nothing to worry about. It just means you need to charge the battery. It's struggling to power all of the things, the blade, lights, etc. And then one other thing to note, if you want to do color change on the fly, we'll back up here. That same button command, holding aux and tapping power, when the blade is on, is your color change. So again, hold aux, tap power. You'll get that little sound effect.
Red.
And then as you rotate,
Orange, red.
if you've got a voice pack, it'll tell you the color.
Dark orange.
You can go in between the colors if you hold power and twist. I can't ever demonstrate that. It's like I end up accidentally selecting a color.
Gold.
But yeah, he'll go through all the named colors. And then if you want to accept that, press power. Since I've programmed all these specifically, I'll hit revert.
Revert.
And one thing to note, on all of these, I have made it so only the main blade changes with on-the-fly color change. Because I normally do a lot of high-end customer requests with lots of blinkies, and I specifically design all of the animations and such, I have made it so that on-the-fly color change doesn't affect these, because otherwise it'll just make everything green. And it's just the on state. So all of the off state will still like do that. But I've made it such that the accents are their own, so they don't rely on the main color. And so if you wanted to change individual colors, you would have to go into edit mode. I have loaded a bunch of free fonts on the SD card should you want to investigate. And then also I've provided the config that I've programmed on the SD card. Now you can't use that like while it's on there. You have to save it to your computer, learn how to edit the config, and then use Arduino to push the changes. But the way I program my presets, I'm only taking up 47% of the Proffie's internal memory. So you have plenty of room to just copy and paste in brand new blade styles and stuff if you decide to get into programming Proffie on your own. And so there's room to grow. You can add fonts. The SD card, while it has a bunch of extra fonts, it's not full. So there are a bunch of, like I said, free fonts, so you can quickly duplicate a preset on the fly, the blade color, or maybe get into edit mode and change all of the colors and then change the font folder. And from that preset, you've now created a brand new preset with a whole bunch of new stuff, and it's all there for you to learn how to do. So again, that'll be on the printout. I don't go into that into detail, but when we're done, you can hop down. I will say, let me go through here real quick.
Reconcile.
On this one, so the core and horn sound font, if you decide to do on-the-fly color change, so let's do that real quick. I'm going to start muted, which is... Okay, so now I'm on. You can see the light up here, but I'm started muted. You can do hold aux, tap power, but this one doesn't do color change. It does it just flip-flops between white and purple. So you can see that right there. main blade and the crystal. This is the only one that I've matched the crystal, and so that if you do on-the-fly color change, like I said. But if you were to do an on-the-fly color change for any other preset, you're just changing the main blade. The crystal has its own set of functions. So again, hold aux tap power when the blade's on, and it just goes from purple to white. So, and again, that has to do with the lore of Corran Horn. But when we're done, we can replace our blade plug. Now the blade socket is a good, like, I don't know, 2 inches. It goes from here to like just below the crystal here. But the blade plug is only like this big. So if you want to just cinch it down with your thumb, and then when we're ready, we can pull the chassis out and hit the kill switch for long-term storage. Or if you need to recharge the battery, you can pop it out. But that is the Saber. No, I covered quite a few things here, but to the customer, if you have any questions, again, feel free to consult the printout. And then, like I said, this sports the OS 714. With the Proffie OS voice packs, I do have all of the latest versions of those. So Brian Connor, he's the one that's going through all that. So y'all support these people, both Fett and Brian Connor, Fernando at Fett263. I've got the latest versions. So this is OS 714. OS 8 is like right on the cusp of being put out. It's still in beta. I'm not using any of the functions that would require OS 8, so I didn't put it on here. But those voice packs do have the extra sound font, like commands for all of the new features that will be coming out with OS 8. So should you decide to upgrade your OS in the future and start learning how to program, again, that's all on the SD card ready for you. You would just have to download, the Proffie OS on your computer, push it with Arduino after doing whatever it is that you want to do. But that's there for you. And again, if any of this is like out of the realm of comfort, Fett263 website, fett263.com, has loads of videos going through every single thing that he's put into his blade styles and into his prop file. So you can go to that. There will be a link on the printout that I send, but also you can go to that website and just start perusing as you're curious. That being said, a lot of stuff to learn, but as it is, really easy to operate. You can just have fun playing with it. All the features are kind of built in, even if you don't use them. It's a bunch of different button commands. You'll have fun. But if you have any questions after you've done your own research, either on the printout, on the website, or the videos, feel free to hit me up. To anyone else out there watching, I know I kind of ramble on these videos, but thanks for sticking around. Hope you like this one. Very cool little setup, like I said, with the independently addressable SIG switches, the crystal chamber with all the shine through, and the shine through on all that stuff. This is a really cool saber. You can put 2 hands on it, no problem. You could probably also flow with it. The buttons are up high enough. So anyway, real cool design. Thanks, Nick, for trusting me with this install. Thanks to the customer. And again, may the force be with you.